Can
I go with an argument against?
YouTube vitality, but like ENCE, it's stuff like Spirit Outsider, all like the right side teams like Spirit Outsider, Imperial, BNE, and Liquid have tough time seeing them in playoffs. I mean, Cloud9 as well have so much. Let's just see what their first game is going to be. Outsiders, okay, it's a good start for them.
The comfortable matchup, something that they're used to.
Yeah. No, I think I'll go with Cloud9 probably. They're very consistent in what they bring. I think they're going to be good in groups, like in the whole group stage phase. Again, they might lack what's going to be like in the higher stage, like in the playoffs, to like really get like over that edge and like having that extra thing that is going to make them win. But I think they're going to be very consistent, kind of in the same idea as Heroic, that I think they're going to make it. I would even maybe put them in the 3-0. They're kind of like more like the gambly style that you can put them in 3-0 because they're a consistent team. Again, they can also bring, you know, something stable to past groups. And then the playoffs is going to be like a different ball game.
Okay.
Wait, what are we talking about now?
Cloud9.
Cloud9.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, whack them in, put them in. Does anybody think that Cloud9 won't make it? What was your rebuttal going to be?
Yeah, I mean, I had an argument against one of those favorites that we were talking about, which is ENCE. I feel like, and this is kind of like the feeling that I've been getting.
This is interesting.
In the past, exactly, kind of like the gut feeling type thing that I've been getting in the past like 10 minutes now that we started talking about it. I feel like they peaked at the wrong time, in the sense that everybody has them on the radar now. Like everybody says how good ENCE is, and you know, so that means everybody's going to prepare for them extra because they know they've been peaking, they've been a really good team, but they don't have as much of a base as a team like a FaZe, as a team like a Navi. You know, I don't put them at the same pedestal to go through the groups swimmingly. You know, and obviously they're facing FaZe in the first match. You know, they could be playing like a Heroic in the second one, you know, well, not Heroic because they're probably going to beat a Liquid, but, you know, could be a rough match in the second one. They could go down 0-2. And at that point, you have to win 3 series in a row against teams that are obviously at a high level, you know? So, like, that's kind of like the situation where I could see ENCE ending up in. And so I'm almost on the verge of, like, putting them outside of the playoffs just for that reason, essentially. Like, they've been too good recently for everybody not to be aware of them, you know?
It's very good rationale.
And they have had some weaknesses. You know, Hades had a pretty rough first stage, especially like that the what was the series?
G2 one?
I think so.
G2
yeah,
one.
I think
they
that
also,
was the G2 one.
Mm-hmm. That was super funny because Snappy tweeted that they were playing 4v5.
Yeah.
Because they lost they lost
so
56 opening duels and won like 26 or something like that. So and people obviously took that towards Hades, who I like as a player, and I also feel like he is one of the players that really needs to grow in terms of the pressure and dealing with it in the big games. Yeah. And that's an annoying part about ENCE because I really like the team and how they're playing and all the players and the whole storyline of these kind of, I don't want to say leftovers, but like overlooked and not really fully developed players being picked up and put together in this lineup led by Snappy, who was also kind of a leftover from the Danish scene, essentially. I really like the storyline. I really like how they play. They're fun to watch. They're not like a super slow team. Shit happens, and all the players have, you know, something to offer. But I have this gut feeling that if you look at the teams that we have here, like they're the one that I'm kind of scared of if shit's just gonna go wrong for them.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not saying we don't have to pick him, but maybe let's just have that in mind.
No, but both of you are in the same place with that, right? And you're actually you're putting it in sound logic, right? And you can easily flip this because ENCE have done a lot of impressing, right? They've definitely done a lot of impressing this year. They made it to the final against FaZe over there at Pro League, and they're going from strength to strength. When Hades looks good, Spinks dropping absolute bombs, right? Snappy still having massive performance games. You know, Diha being impactful, Madden being an addition. He's obviously an upgrade. Like, there's a lot of positives, lots of praise around Saw. But we can flip this, right? Like, even if we don't pick them to go on through, and then they do, this is the next part in this journey for this team becoming mega legit, right? Because a lot of the other names, we already have players who have been deep in majors, Vitality, Na'Vi, FaZe, right? Heroic and Cloud9 last time round were deep. Fury did the same thing. G2 were in the grand final of the previous, right? Big is probably one of those exceptions to that rule that you could make a good argument. Big versus ENCE. Do we really think that like Big are going to outplay ENCE? That's where you could kind of start having that conversation based on similar categories right there. But you guys are creating a narrative which, if they do go against what you're saying, it's just that next step in the progression of this team becoming one of the elite. Right. And this is the highest they've been ranked in the world. This is the most important tournament. So you built a conversation here that we can go either way, right? We can definitely go either way in that level right there. So let's leave ENCE off for now. Maybe
even if you talk about Spink specifically, like obviously there's been a lot of pressure, a lot of eyes on him in the past couple of months, and like as a result, ENCE essentially, or the other way around, I guess you can say. So like people will also prep for him specifically, and he's been obviously key to their entire runs. Like he's had some massive games, and so like that's still same argument. You know, people will just be much more aware of what his tendencies, and you know that this is where he needs to hit that next level where he's going to be consistently that kind of a guy. You know, and that we've seen it like often enough that I feel like he's definitely going to have big games, but maybe, you know, in those key matchups against some big teams that will just put a little bit more like analyst work into him and try to make sure that he doesn't have the amount of space that he needs, you know, like that's where I feel like they could crumble, you know, so that's a bit of a worry for me.
Okay, let's leave them to one side right now. What about this one here? And anyone can pick this one up, right? Everybody seems to be sleeping on NIP. I even saw like Brokey put NIP like 0-3. They're the team that we talk about having a really high floor, right? So what's the go with NIP? Why is everybody sleeping on NIP right now?
Because there's too many good other teams, essentially.
That's a good
basically
answer.
the problem.
But the NIP at every turn have proven the naysayers wrong. And it's not that there's a lot of naysayers. It's just like they're not expected to do well, and then they do well, right? So what's the
think when we actually look at the results with Broland, they haven't been that great. Like they beat.
Hasn't he played one event?
They played the qualifier Armor, and they played the Blast Showdown. And I think at the Armor they beat ENCE. This is an anti-ENCE thing as well. Like why does ENCE lose that game? They shouldn't. They should just win it easy. And then